Hey Blade, didn't this dungeon come out like 2 months ago? Isn't posting a solo dungeon video now incredibly outdated and irrelevant?
Shut the fuck. Alright, let me start off with this. This dungeon is fucking sick! I mean, look at this. Aesthetics?
Amazing.
Traversal?
Engaging.
Mechanics?
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, they're alright, I guess. Warlord's Ruin is probably my favorite dungeon that's recently come out, and a huge step in the right direction in terms of dungeon design. I mean, that's not really an accomplishment when your competition's electrical engineering and swimming. Regardless, whatever team in charge of this truly took the time to refine the experience, and they have definitely outdone themselves. It's what I would be saying if they didn't despise solo players! Listen, I like difficult solo content. There's something inherently satisfying about taking an activity meant for 3 people and saying, fuck it, I'll do it myself. But ever since Spire, the dungeon developers now smoke crack, and every boss encounter is created like,
hey guys, let's just make each boss have like, I don't know, 20 million health?
Should we make the damage faces quick to get to?
No, let's make it take 5 to 10 minutes and include really repetitive mechanics.
Sir, wouldn't that just make the solo experience overly bloated, leading to an unrewarding and boring gameplay loop that turns the dungeon into an endurance match rather than an actual difficult challenge?
okay, fine. Maybe I'm still a little salty from Ghost of the Deep. Can you blame me? The final boss took me an hour, and it was 9 damage phases of absolute garbage mechanics, and it sucks, and I hate you, Bungie! But that's not what this video is about. I make Destiny content, which means sooner or later, I have to make a solo dungeon video to slowly turn a game I enjoy into a sad attempt at chasing views for a collapsing channel. Wow, I need to get out more. But before we begin, we have the question of which class to use for this run. Why don't we do a quick Google search to check out some of the strategies people are using to... No! Is Hunter the most difficult class to solo this on? I don't know, but I'd rather suffer as a free individual than play Banner of Wind or Crutch of Radiance. So now that we have the class settled on, I was ready to head in. Sure, it took me like 10 minutes to figure out how to even enter the dungeon, but I mean, I've soloed dungeons before. How bad could it really be? We set the scene with this snowy mountain before we head into the giant castle, and I made my way to the first boss. What the hell are you doing? Do not step into that cage. It has giant metal piston spikes. Why are you walking inside? Don't activate it. You know what it's going to do. Why would you? Well, there goes Flawless. After respawning, we're faced with the first boss of the dungeon, Rathel, the first broken knight of Figroll. Yeah, I'm not saying all that. This is Larry. Now Larry has a pretty simple mechanic. Escape a budget Bowser cage by shooting some eyes, stand near some goop totems for a bit,
And hit it till it dies!
most of the encounter is just waiting for him to put you in the sex cage so you can escape and do damage while they throw a bunch of ads in your direction to keep you occupied. Sure, if you don't shoot the eyes fast enough, you get 4 metal spikes down your throat, but the orbs are like 6 feet in front of you. It's pretty hard to miss it. You'd have to be pretty fucking stupid to not see. Oh shit, cut to the next clip, cut to the next clip! But after 10 minutes of punching, waiting invisibly like a coward, and cutting Larry down like a Christmas tree, we finally defeat Larry.
Oh, I did it. What? Oh, I'm in gay baby jail.
Now to get out of gay baby jail, all I have to do is shoot these gears to make the correct number of them turn clockwise and counterclockwise, and then shoot the latch to open the door. And you may be wondering, Blade, how did you figure this out on your run? Or the more likely question, Blade, how did you figure this out on your run? Okay, so full transparency here, I fucking didn't. What I instead did was spend the next 20 minutes looking for any clues in the room before ignoring them completely and randomly shooting gears, and eventually, it just worked. The only reason I know how to solve it is because my clanmates, knowing this fucking idiot could never figure this out on his own, had to explain to me that whatever I just did was completely wrong, and me escaping in the first place was an absolute fucking miracle. But after random violence once again prevailed, it was just a matter of running quickly to the next boss, and so after 20 minutes of paranoid crouch walking and scaling the mountain, we come to this part. Now, everyone has a least favorite part for every dungeon. It's just unavoidable. For me, it's the heartbeat from Spire, the cannon section of Grass, all of Ghost. And despite the fact that Warlord's Ruin is an amazing dungeon, well, we have to drop the ball somewhere. Welcome to my darkness, locus of wailing grief. This Taken Ogre fuck took me the longest out of any dungeon boss I have ever had to fight in this game, and I hate it because in a game where I've killed gods, time-warping robots, and incomprehensible horrors across the solar system, the thing that stopped me dead in my tracks is this giant, chained-up, nipple-clamped, diaper-wearing baby! The worst part is, I know that objectively, it's not even that hard. After spawning Larry's brothers Terry and Jerry, all you have to do is stand near the goop totems they spawn after dying, light up the blazers with miniature suns, and stand near the fire to do damage to Frog Egg Head. It's definitely not hard, but it's just so damn annoying. The longer you play this boss, the more you realize how much waiting you actually have to do. Not only do you have to wait to ungoop the totems, you also have to go wait by the torch fire to make sure you don't just keel over and die, which really isn't that bad. Fighting cold honestly goes away pretty fast, but the fact that you also have to wait for Larry's brothers just makes things so Why is the primary strategy to wait for them to drop one totem and then wait some more? And that's even if they drop it, because they could just decide to say fuck it and just not do it. Sure, you could just wait for them to come to the center and kill both of them, but even then you're still waiting and you still have to kill them fast enough, and you still have to wait near the totems, and you still need to go back to the torches, and you only have 30 seconds. Listen, Bungie, I don't know how you managed to create an encounter with both too much and too little time, but you fucking did it. And honestly, I'm impressed. Even if you just try to kill one immediately and run across the entire arena to kill the other, you barely have enough time, and that's assuming you one-shot the other one, which I don't think is even possible unless you're on Strand Titan. Maybe I'm just missing something. Maybe there's some secret mechanic that just makes this fight infinitely easier. But as it stands, the entire encounter is harshly divided between, oh god, why is everyone shooting at me? Why are there so many of them? Please leave me alone! And we haven't even gotten to the actual boss. May I point out that this boss has around 16 million health, which is actually more than the final boss. That's right, the manifested spirit of a fucking wish-making dragon has less health than this random ogre whose Destinypedia entry consists of one paragraph. One mistake while fighting the infinitely spawning ads meant whoopsie, you gotta do all that again. Have fun waiting some more. And the cherry on top, the boss has attacks that blind and push, which honestly doesn't really affect the fight that much. But who felt the need to give the BDSM baby the two most annoying attributes for their attacks? It's not salt in the wound, it's sulfuric acid. I'll give it one thing, the name's accurate. I was wailing, and I was grieving. I spent hours trying different strategies and DPS weapons, but nothing seemed to do enough damage. I just kept dying trying to deal DPS while all of China knew where I was, or making some stupid mistake that dominoed into a death screen. But after 6 hours of attempt after attempt after attempt, my game crashed. 6 hours. And it was gone. And I would need to do it all again. From the beginning. Because I alt-tabbed for 5 minutes. So I hired 2 paid actors to carry me through the rest of the dungeon because I am a little bitch baby with no morals.
Maybe he saw that potential here.
Then maybe you can still get through to him.
What the fuck are you 3 doing? But with the power of friendship and $5, we killed the final boss and beat Warlord's End. story over, video done. I gave up and quit, and we never have to relive this nightmare ever again. It's not like 2 hours later I immediately went back and... But before heading in, we need to make a quick change. A quick switch from the Virgin Assassin's Cowl to the Chad Caliban's Hand. And with the combined ignitions of Caliban Hand's knives, Gunpowder Gamble, and the new exotic rocket launcher Dragon's Breath, I could burn this entire dungeon to the fucking ground. Like a shitty version of Sherman's March to the Sea. So after embracing my inner arsonist and reminding Larry his place, I was back to the ogre. And with this new loadout, I was doing even better than before. Dragon's Breath let me stick the boss to do constant damage so I can focus on the ads, and the ignitions kept the boss stunned to give me more time to damage it. Combined with restoration nades, I had the survivability to tank most damage, assuming I didn't let the ads swarm me. Things were finally looking up. Until I died to a random acolyte in the back. But hey, that's like a third of the boss's health. That's progress. That's good, right? I had the boss down to a rhythm at this point. Shoot the eyes, wait in the corner for Terry to spawn his goop, kill Terry in cold blood, run to the fire to warm up my tootsies, ungoop both totems, and burn this fucker to the ground. Something finally clicked in my head and I felt invincible. Nothing could stop me now. I threw the grenade, and looking at where it was going, I thought it would fly into the distance. Fortunately for me, the boss stepped forward and caught it for me. Thanks, man. That was a 30-minute attempt, and I only got halfway through the boss. But I was slow playing, and that was an outlier. Obviously, the strategy was working. I just need to get better at managing my restoration nades and making sure my gunpowder gamble isn't in my face when it goes off.
Yeah, sure, bring it as more of a risk to my own health, and on your mark is probably better in every way.
But that last death was an anomaly. There's no way I would make the same silly mistake that cost me a 30-minute... Okay, fine. Maybe it's a bad aspect. At the rate I was going, I wasn't making any progress, and every failed attempt was just more of my time wasted, and frankly, I didn't want to spend another 6 hours on a single boss. I have wasted too much of my life enough times in this game. Something needed to change. So, what did I do? Did I take a step back, recognize my mistakes, and come back ready to take on the boss with a fresh mindset and a new plan? No, of course I didn't fucking do that. You think I'm trying to become a better player? You know what that requires? Skill, patience, the willingness to learn from past mistakes. Fuck all of that. Obviously, I just wasn't doing enough damage. I mean, look at that health bar. What is that, like 8 million? Psh, baby numbers. But how could I boost my damage without actually improving at the game? Oh, hello, solo operative. So I spent the next 2 days grinding bounties, completing seasonal challenges, and way too much Gambit. Like an ungodly amount of Gambit. But now, with my newfound skill, I was ready. And I wasn't leaving until I saw that end screen. After replacing 90% of Larry's bloodstream with napalm, I was ready to settle the score. What ensued was an action-packed battle as I fought for every second of my life and kept whittling down that 16 million health bar, rocket by rocket, fusion shot by fusion shot, barely escaping death by the skin of my teeth. And also waiting in circles. You know, you can't forget about the waiting in circles. But after 30 minutes, 4 damage phases, and 2 emotional breakdowns,
I feel nothing.
so it was back to climbing up the mountain, and I even made a friend along the way, until he got mad at me and I had to put him down. Wouldn't be the first time. But once I reached the peak, it was time for the final challenge. The boss waiting for me at the top of the mountain, Heffin's Meatball. To do damage, you have to shoot the eyes which spawn... God fucking... Once Gary and Barry spawn, you have to kill them for their totems, which you ungoop to deal damage to the Angry Spaghetti. Which, more waiting. How fun. Luckily, the developers found an incredibly easy solution to make this step more interesting. Tag. You see, once you start the ungoop, you gotta pass the cheese touch to this enemy, because just like in real life, if you don't pass it on, you die. Unfortunately, he's one of those kids who believes in tagbacks. But all you gotta do is run around the playground, maybe blow a couple raspberries, and once he dies, you can put a couple rounds right in that Legend of Zelda weak spot. Once you hit this damage threshold, the boss takes after my dad and leaves. But unlike 10-year-old me, you get to follow the boss up the arena not once, not twice, but 3 times to complete a whole damage cycle before doing it all again. Now, this boss requires a lot of burst damage, and as much as I like Dragon's Breath, it just wasn't cutting it for this fight. I knew I needed one last loadout change. And by that, I mean I watched like 3 minutes of an esoteric video and I just... As for the boss experience itself, the fight is designed so that when you complete literally any important part of the fight, a set of ad spawn that you have to deal with. That combined with the infinitely spawning floor blights makes it a pain to traverse the main arena, so I just didn't. For the most part, I just found a really big rock to cower behind and poke with sunshine. I mean, I tried to get right up in the action, you know, knives flying, explosions, the whole 9 yards, but, we don't talk about those attempts. But after an hour of working my way damage phase by damage phase, it was the final stand. A fraction of that health bar left. It was time. What? I had to bottle in my burning rage, and I haven't really had the chance to cope with that yet. So I'm just gonna let that out now. Excuse me. I can still feel my blood boiling every time I watch this clip. I lost all that progress. Not to the deadly void blast from the boss, not from the endless barrage from the eyes, but from this random blight on the ground that they just happened to put on the left side of this pillar. It was 2 a.m. I wanted to go to bed, but no, I would have to do it all over again because I was punished for pressing A instead of D. My bad, I guess. So I spent another 30 minutes reaching final stand again, and this time I made sure to walk to the right. I saved every last bit of ammo I could, preparing for this exact moment. I didn't want to leave anything to chance. I really wanted to go to bed. Shot after shot, I willed down that health bar until finally...
Alright, cool. Anyway.
After a 3-hour and 40-minute run, it was done. Warlord's Ruin solo completed.
But now that it's all said and done, did I enjoy it?
I know I shat on the whole wait for thing to do thing aspect of Warlord's Ruin, but it really wasn't that bad. It's just really tedious. What dungeon isn't at this point?
Other than that, Larry was a great introduction to the dungeon's mechanics and teaches you the basics. Sure, he was simple, but that's what he needs to be. The opener to prepare you for what's to come. The spicy Italian meatball has an interesting take on DPS and made it far more entertaining than just stand in circle and shoot. Scaling up the arena by dealing damage along the way was fun, and the actual arena itself required me to use cover to the fullest to avoid getting deleted. And the ogre? Anyway.
Regardless, if you're watching this video and you still haven't completed your solo run of Warlord's Ruin,
Go on and give it a try. I mean, if I can do it, the bar's gotta be real low. Anyway, by the time this video comes out, the holidays have already passed because I spent the last month rewriting this video 3 times and getting distracted by Minecraft parkour videos. But with 2024 rolling in, I just want to say this. Here's to a new year. Let's try not to fuck it up this time. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you next year when I decide to curse this platform with another shitpost. Happy New Year. And if I see a single comment asking for Solo Flawless, I will fucking destroy you!